Divine greetings and gratitude. If you are new here, my name is Nuna. I am the seer, the poet, the writer, and the witch, and the keeper of the Saiyonan archives. Welcome to your new spiritual safe haven. And if you're returning, hello fam, hello tribe, welcome back to our sacred space. I'm always honored, excited, and elated to be in your presence. As you can see, I have to clean this up real quick because I got some incense ash right here. But yes, I wanted to go ahead and do a channeled reading because I feel like I'm in the mood, and also I was simply called to the altar to give you this reading. We're actually in my living room space. I turned my dining room to, well, not my dining room, but I turned this coffee table into an altar because I was hanging around my crystal babies here, just having a good chat. And I decided that I was going to go ahead and do the reading because I was called to give this to you specifically. I don't know who you are, but I do know that this message was meant to find you right now. I do not believe in coincidences. I believe that everything happens divinely and synchronistically. I believe that everything happens in divine order and that everything is perfectly aligned. Although life itself is not perfect, life itself is perfect, if you get what I mean. Thank you for listening to this. I want to go ahead and get right into this reading. Before we do so, I would like to invite you to check out the YouTube channel. For those of you that are confused as to why I said that I'm the poet, the seer, and the writer, and the witch, I am known for merging the arts of poetry and magic. This card wants to come out, and so does this one, or these three, so we're going to allow those cards to come out. And then I also heard turn these cards upright. So if they are in reverse, I'm hearing to turn them upright, and I'm going to allow that to be what it is. Also, I just heard the words activation of power. If you're listening to this right now, then chances are your power is activating. I will let you know this right now that I am not known for fluffing a reading, and I will not say anything to you just because I want you to click, or just because I want you to stay, or just because I want you to subscribe. Although I would love for that to happen, I am not saying this because I want you to stay. I will give you the absolute truth. In fact, I'm known for giving people readings, and unfortunate things that I have picked up on have happened. No, I will never BS you in a reading. So someone's power is activating. Wow. You can't even make this up at all. Already the Ace of Pentacles. Let me go ahead and see if I can get a better. There you go. Ace of Pentacles. So this has everything to do with something that you started. I'm hearing that for some of you, it was the fact that this was something that you didn't think would actually manifest, or this was something that you felt like wasn't going to make it. Like, it almost kind of feels like there's something that you are going back to that's going to be activated. And for whatever reason, it's kind of like when, I don't know why I'm getting a vision of someone who planted seeds and then they forgot that they planted the seed. And so when they thought about it, they didn't see it growing, but out of nowhere, it just grows. And it's like, wait a minute, when did I plant this? And like 6 months, 8 months later, this thing comes into a full sprout and it's already producing nuts or seeds or fruits or whatever it is, right? So it feels like this is something that someone started and they may not have known that it was going to grow, but it grew. You may not know now, but you will, is what I'm hearing. Okay. So yes, you have things going, you have these cards upright. So immediately what I'm feeling with this is that someone is choosing to walk away from something that was completely played out. Like, it feels like someone here is or was in an unhappy space, in an unhappy marriage, or something happened in their past where they absolutely could not stand being there. I don't know why I want to move this incense over here for whatever reason. And I'm also feeling like someone here might need a cleansing because I want to put this close to you so that you can see the incense smoke on the screen. I don't know why that's so significant. Something about incense smoke and a cleansing. It's like when you leave this old life and you need to do a deep cleaning and like a deep cleansing and a house cleansing. That's exactly what this feels like. Someone needs to do some type of really deep purge and cleansing. And I just heard the matriarch. Okay, so this is spirit. Okay, so the fact that I just heard this is the matriarch, you yourself could be a matriarch. And I'm also hearing spirit tell me to tell you I'm hearing spirit tell me to introduce myself to you as a matriarch. So as a matriarch and as the matriarch of the Saiyonan temple, I will say that it is very imperative that you keep your physical space clean and that you keep your energetic space clean at all times. And what this feels like is that there's something that was old, that it feels very rustic, something old. I'm seeing rust on someone's like raised bed. Like if you have a metal raised bed, I'm seeing rust on it. And then I just heard the word pollution. They're wanting you to check your soil. Like your spirit guides are asking you to check your soil. I just heard that. Check your soil. Make sure that you have fertilizer in your soil. I also just heard that all seeds that are planted won't grow. Mind you, again, this is a channeled message, so anything can come through for you at this time. I just heard that not everybody will relate to this. I just heard welcoming in the new, like someone is welcoming in the new. And it's interesting that I say that because you do have the Ace of Cups here, and every card, they're saying that every card that comes through, turn it upright. So you have the Ace of Cups here turning upright. This is letting me know that this was someone who, I just heard that someone's life was in shambles. And then I'm also getting a feeling of like homelessness again. And this came up in a reading before, like months ago, where we were talking about homelessness, but now I feel like someone is like finding home. And I'm feeling something about like a sanctuary. And I'm hearing that when you choose to walk away from this space, that another space is open and welcome to you. And because of that, it's like you find home, you find yourself, you find your tribe, but then you find the nutrients and that you need. And I'm also hearing to like swap beds or to take the plants from this space and move them to another. So it's like repotting. So there's this idea and this metaphor of you being repotted. And even though you thought that you wouldn't grow, you ended up growing because you moved or you changed locations. And it's not one of those things where it's toxic, right? And then you say, well, I'm just going to leave and run away from my problems. It's definitely not giving me that vibe. What it is giving me though, is that you're actively choosing to not allow yourself to be in a toxic environment, and you're allowing yourself to grow and to move beyond this current situation because you've seen something, you felt something, and you're in a space where you're just like, I don't need this anymore. As a matriarch, again, I'm going to say that it is imperative that you cleanse your space and that you cleanse your internal, that you cleanse your temple, you keep it clean. And the reason for that is not just because of organization, but because when you do that, you allow the right energies to come into your space. And oftentimes our physical space is a representation or a mirror as to what's going on internally. Right. But it's what I'm hearing is that it's coming up differently for different people. And they're specifically saying that when someone who has a place that is extremely clean, where every single little thing is in order, they're saying specifically that for some people, this means that they have to exercise control in every single little situation. And that if something is not right, they feel threatened. Like they scope the environment, they have to assess people, they have to, if people are not in order, it's almost kind of giving me like, I'm hearing over compulsive disorder. I don't want to just use that term loosely, but you may be someone or know someone who has this, quote unquote condition, or, I don't like to say things like that because I don't like to make people feel like there's something wrong with them, because I'm not saying that at all, but it does kind of give me this feeling of where people are just kind of, they're over the top, making sure that this is spick, span, and clean, not because they want it to be clean, but because they want to be in control. And there's something about that. And I'm hearing that you don't want to be in an environment where you can't be human. It's not to say that you're a messy person, but you honor the fact that life can sometimes be a mess. You honor the fact that sometimes there's a dish in the sink, because it represents the fact that someone lives here, that this house is used. And it's not the fact that you don't want it to be clean. You're just saying that you just want the space to be lived in. You want there to be home. You want there to be life. And with this Ace of Cups here, what I'm hearing is that someone just simply wants there to be life. And they are refusing to be in any space that does not allow them any opportunity to love, to grow, to be. To root, to flow, to root, to burn, to flow, to breathe, to be. It's so funny because it's bringing me to the chapters of the book that I'm writing. That's so interesting. I'm writing a book. I don't know what it's going to be called yet. I think it's going to be called The Magic of Being. And the chapters are to root, to burn, to flow, to breathe, to be. And it's so beautiful because it's all about you finding home within yourself and you returning to yourself. Because that's something that I'm going to be teaching more about in the upcoming months. And I don't know why I need to say this, but I've been doing a lot of readings recently, but the reason is because it's easier for me to do that because of what I have going on behind the scenes in my own life, right? So it's easier for me to do readings in this way versus constantly making sure that my hair is done, constantly making sure that I put on makeup, constantly making sure that I look, good on to, to be on camera. I don't like coming on camera without makeup on and without being done up. So I'm just like that until I change that. But anyway, and even with that, I feel like Spirit is saying is that if you're someone that feels, and it's so funny because I feel like even I'm being called out. It's like, if you feel like you always have to be put together for something, it almost kind of takes the fun and the life out of it, because Spirit is saying that I want you to come as you are. That's so funny. That message is not just for me. That message is for someone. Someone wants to just come as they are. And they're not going to be able to grow unless they're able to just come as they are. The Hierophant here represents rules and regulations. The Hierophant also represents tradition. It represents order. It represents you having to have some type of governance and structure. It represents churches. It represents, it could sometimes represent hospitals, anything dealing with an organization. I feel like someone is looking for something that sticks. And also at the same time, they feel like they don't want to be in a home where they are not free to be themselves. I see the Hierophant coming up as someone who, again, wants things to be in a very, very, very certain way. And it almost, again, sucks the life out of something. And Spirit is saying is that even when you feel like you won't grow, you will. You just have to move locations. Like, I just keep hearing to move a location. So someone could be thinking about moving. I'm seeing Zillow, Hot Pads, like different types of like housing apps. Spirit is saying for you to set your intention for that. And also I'm hearing they want you to speak directly to your ancestors, because your ancestors have some type of like land or some type of deed, or they might have known something or someone or like a family and whatnot, but like they're wanting you to reach out directly to your ancestors. I just heard something about someone's feminine ancestors is what I'm hearing. Your feminine ancestors may know someone. Wow. You definitely have a special reading going on here. Okay. Again, they said to make sure that everything is upright. Wow. All right. The Hangman, the Seven of Cups, and the Six of Swords. I feel like this has everything to do. I just heard the word distortion. Like someone is being asked to maneuver themselves. Exactly. Maneuver yourself out. Like the Six of Swords, usually it comes up when we're in a space of total transition after the chaos, right? And I feel like this is one of those things where I just heard the words bittersweet. This isn't coming up as something that's just sorrow. It's coming up as like, you know what? Like my time here was what it was. And I feel like I'm just ready to go now. Like it was just too much. It's just too much. It's too restraint. It's too restrictive. It almost kind of comes up as the Hierophant is coming up as someone that's being uptight. And I feel like what I'm hearing is that you want to establish your own new order. They are not wanting you to plant seeds here. They're wanting you to plant seeds elsewhere. They're saying don't get too comfortable, because you're going to have a lot of options available to you sooner rather than later. They're asking for you to hold on, to trust the situation, and to not allow yourself to fall victim to control. That's why your guides and your ancestors are pulling you out. Also, what I'm hearing is that the reason why sometimes things get chaotic is because you have a willingness, a heart that is so reluctant to giving up. The only way for you to have left was for destruction to have hit. That was the only way to get you up to move, because you have such a strong heart. I'm hearing the word Leo. Leos are relentless when it comes to the people that they love and care about. Leos are seen as, the stereotypical version of Leo is, oh, I want attention, I'm loud, I'm colorful, I'm this, I'm that. But people skip past the fact that Leo has a very big heart. And I feel like sometimes that can be their weakness because they love so hard and they love so much. And as selfish as people think that they are so selfless. Like they can be some of the most selfless people, at least the ones that I know, right? Like at least the Leos that I know, they can be very selfless. And I feel like in this instance, Spirit is saying that you are someone that has such a strong heart that, again, the only way that you would have left is by destruction happening. But you gave them permission to destroy this because you asked for protection. You asked for protection. You asked for guidance. You asked for Spirit to intervene. And now you have to leave. The only way for you to get out of the situation, for you to grow in ways that you cannot imagine, is by getting up and leaving. As a matriarch, as a divine feminine force, as a divine feminine energy, I know exactly what it feels like to have to to get up and to go, right? There are plenty of times in my life where I've gotten up from spaces and I've left. People calling my phone, blowing up my phone, and I'm just like, nope, I'm not doing it, because at the end of the day, I deserve peace and I deserve happiness. I know what it's like to be kicked out of spaces before because of however people feel. I know what that feels like. And I know what it's like to feel homeless when all you've looked for was sanctuary. That's something that I experienced. And so I know what it's like. But I also know what it's like to reclaim your power back after that as well. And so Spirit is saying to you now that now is a time for you to start reclaiming that power. This is what's activating you at this moment. And I feel like it's going to help you fall even deeper into love. It's going to help you fall even deeper into yourself. Why? Because you're no longer going to accept anything that you know that you don't deserve, and you are willing to get up and walk away. You are absolutely willing to get up and walk away. I just heard peace and transition. The King of Pentacles, and you have the Judgment here. This has everything to do with you making the right decisions for you to help give yourself, again, sanctuary, because you're not waiting on anyone to provide this for you. You're providing this for yourself. And then people that come along in your life are going to be an addition to that. And this is what you can call in. Spirit is saying is that it wants you to use your higher judgment for this one. It wants you to use divine wisdom. That candle that I have burning over here to my left is a divine wisdom candle that's available in the Etherium. I actually work with this candle a lot because I'm constantly working with my guides and my ancestors and my spiritual team to draw in wisdom because of my position and what I'm doing on the planet. So I need to draw in the divine wisdom, and I keep that wisdom around me constantly, especially when you're an elder. I am one of those people that was born an elder, and I feel like you are also one of those people that was born an elder. You might be the middle child, you may be the oldest or the eldest, or you may be the youngest. Either way it goes, you have very seasoned energy, and that's exactly the reason why the King of Coins is here, because the King of Coins, aka the King of Pentacles, is an energy of season, right? It's an energy that is seasoned. It's mastered, right? The King of Pentacles mastered the material, but this King of Coins has also done things to control. So you could have come out of a situation where you were being manipulated, financially controlled, financially restrained. Your money, your funds have been taken. You know people that have been stealing from you. And now you're in a space where you're just like, you know what? I don't want to be here anymore. I'm not accepting it because I know that I want to be happy. And the best way for me to be happy is to allow myself to leave situations. It doesn't matter how stable it looks. Just because it appears to be something does not mean that it is something. Just because it appears to be something does not mean that it is something. Pyrite. Pyrite is coming through. Your guides are wanting you to work with pyrite at the moment. This is very interesting because I feel like with the Judgment card and the King of Coins, this really does point me to someone that they're finding a new way. It's like they're finding a new way. You're redefining happiness, and you're looking into deeper what happiness means to you after you've gotten up and you've walked away. And again, it's bittersweet. You have two cards here that lets me know that you are truly in a transitional period. You have here the Six of Swords, and you also have the Eight of Cups. I feel like, honestly, this has been so mentally and emotionally draining, but I just keep hearing the word cathartic. You are going to be so happy when you decide to leave. And I want you to know that you are not wrong for leaving, and you are not wrong for calling in sanctuary, and you are not wrong for calling in love in the best ways that you deserve and that you need. Because at the end of the day, you have too big of a heart to sit here and feel unhappy. You have too big of a heart to sit here and feel unhappy in this space. Okay? I want you to take a piece of paper, specifically a piece of craft paper, but any paper will do. And I want you to write down everything that makes you feel unhappy. I want you to write that down on the left side of the paper. On the right side of the paper, I want you to write down everything that you can think of that will make you happy. And then I want you to focus on the number one thing on the left side of that paper that makes you feel the unhappiest, the most unfulfilled. And then I want you to look at the right side of that paper. And then I want you to look at that list and see what is the number one thing that you feel makes you feel the most fulfilled. I want you to focus on releasing that thing first. The number one thing that makes you feel the most unfulfilled, I want you to scratch that off the list and say, I no longer receive this. I no longer act on this. I no longer allow myself to move in this energy. When you look on the right side of that paper, you say, this is the very thing that will make me the most fulfilled, and I choose to move in that direction. And that's what I want you to do. You can do a spell if you want to. You can do this. I just heard the words cord cutting. I'm going to be real with you. This is deeper than just a cord cutting ritual or a cord cutting spell. I mean, this could work for minor issues and like minor fixes. It's kind of like when you have to get exactly, let go of this burden. Exactly. Let go of this burden. Wow. Let's go ahead and fix that. There you go. Let's let go of this burden. It's so interesting. What was I just saying? I was just saying it and I lost it. Okay, I guess it really wasn't meant to be. So let's go ahead and continue. Speaking of standing in your power, look at that. You have the Strength card. They're wanting you to turn your power around for sure. And you also have the Queen of, wow, look at that. You cannot make this up. You cannot make this up. We're already at 22 minutes. Oh my goodness. Okay. You guys may hear something in the background. That's my dishwasher going off. I'm in the living room. Okay, so this is the Nine of Cups, and then you also have the Queen of Wands here. And then you also have the 10 of Wands. I feel like you are letting loose and dropping this weight. I'm seeing weight loss for someone. I'm seeing jogs. I'm seeing exercises. I'm seeing that when you exercise, you drop. You drop. And it's not even just the weight that you drop. And it's interesting because my fiance, he went on a weight loss journey, and he says that when you lose weight, you're not just losing the weight, you're also letting go of the energy that is associated with that weight. And I know exactly what it feels like now as someone who's also losing weight, because he went on a weight loss journey and changed his whole life around. He went plant-based and all that good stuff, and he changed his life around. And when I tell you that it fits this man so well, it's phenomenal how much he changed his life around after losing weight, eating healthy foods and things like that, getting back into the groove. And it's interesting because with what he's doing now, he's in the process of losing weight again. And when I say that this man is making a complete 180, it's like his soul just was ignited, and I'm seeing it in like living time. I'm feeling it in right now. I'm feeling it, right? Because I'm also losing weight. So it feels so good when you let that weight just drop, and then you start to step more into your power. You start to attract and become more magnetic, and you start to attract those things more that you want because you're clearing the energy. Right? And it feels good. And also you regain more of a sense of self, right? You start to regain a sense of self. It's so beautiful how this energy right now for you looks like you allowing everything to fall away, all because you decided to say yes to the very things that make you feel the most fulfilled. That's Skylar over there. You guys may hear my my child in the background. This might be a little bit of a longer reading, and I'm okay with that. I'm not gonna complain because we have time. Yeah, let's go ahead and see what the what this deck has to offer tonight. I'm going to get another one of these decks because they're so small. Like I don't like how it feels to shuffle with these. They're so small. Okay. Okay, so nope. Spirit says no. Source says no. Okay. Thank you so much, Source, for that. Main male. Okay. Poverty. I just heard the words deed to a trust. I just heard deed and trust. Occupation. Unexpected income. Okay. Oh, okay. That's enough. Spirit says that's enough. Okay, let me move this out of the way. So this over here, wow, marriage. Someone is leaving a marriage and someone is getting married. Take your pick. Adjudication. Yeah, this feels very, yes, somebody's getting a divorce from a person that they thought was theirs. And no, spirit is like, nope. Spirit is saying no. For some of you, you are getting married to the person that you never would have thought that you would have gotten married to. For some of you, this is your second chance. But for you specifically, to the person that I'm talking to, I feel like you're leaving someone that you were with for a while. And it turns out that they are not who you believe that they were. I just heard the word Virgo. Wow, it's giving me like Virgo and Capricorn energy. Like something about like a split. Like it's something about like a splitting. Like it's like a split. I'm seeing just like a split. So Virgo energy could point to, if this person is not a Virgo, this person is hypercritical. Remember earlier when we mentioned how there was someone who had to have their space extremely in order because they needed to have control? That's the way that that's coming through. Or someone could embody those traits. Like it could be the Capricorn that's embodying the Virgo traits, and it could be the Virgo that's taking on the Capricorn traits with the structure and the look. And it's so interesting that I'm going to say this. I'm just going to let it be what it is. As someone who has Capricorn energy, I don't really like to call myself a Capricorn. I feel like we all embody all the signs in different ways, right? But I'm heavily dense with Capricorn energy. If you look at my natal chart and in my tropical chart, I have 6 planets in the 9th house in the sign of Capricorn. So as someone who embodies Capricorn traits very strongly, right, I would say that we can be a lot more sensitive and a lot more loving than we think, or than people give it credit for. We just don't show it a lot because that's the way that we keep ourselves protected, right? And with Virgo energy, sometimes it can be very hypercritical. And I don't know why I'm seeing the shadow aspect of these two signs. I'm seeing the shadow aspect of something. So someone could be very irresponsible, and they could lack accountability, or they may not be as honest or integral, while the other person comes off as very hypercritical, secretive, judgmental, and they're just not who they say that they are. I feel like as a result of the splitting for you, it almost kind of feels like with that comes the leaving of a job. With that comes the death of a job. Like with that comes the death of a life. And it may feel unsettling because it's like, well, where does the security come from? Like, how do I keep myself secure in this situation? But at the same time, remember that just because you may think that this is going to be poverty doesn't mean that it will, because in the nick of time, it's like in the nick of time, you end up manifesting something or receiving something right when you needed it. It's kind of like when you feel like you're like down on funds, right? I don't know if you've ever lived through this, but having a negative bank account, oh my God. And then something comes up and you're just like, man, I really needed that. Thank you. And someone just is like, yeah, no worries. Like I felt it on my heart to just give you this. And you're just like, thank you. You don't know that you just saved my life. And then you just take it and you're just like, yes, that's what this unexpected income feels like. Also, this could be that as a result of this separation, that something that you didn't think that you would get is owed to you. Like that's what it feels like. But with this false person here, it really just does feel like someone has shown or is showing their true colors right now for you at this moment. And that's what makes it easier to leave. I'm hearing that this could be divine masculine leaving, or this could be you leaving divine masculine. Okay. Adjudication. I just heard the word like a court ruling with adjudication. So for you, this could look, so let's just say, for example, right, like if this is not literal court, let's just say that this is like a spiritual bond. There's something that's being broken and like something that's being released, and there's something that is leaving, that's being torn apart, that's being broken apart. It's like when you get married, divorce, right? But in this case, what it feels like is that it feels like someone is breaking a tie and they're getting rid of the ritual. It's, or not getting rid of the ritual, but they're doing a ritual to break the tie. You could be called to do a ritual to break this tie and connection. I'm going to switch this over to somebody else. I feel like for you now, because I'm talking to someone else, for you, this feels like the person that you thought you wouldn't marry or end up with, or that you thought would end, like this relationship, like you felt like it would end, it turns out that this was the best thing for you, because you decided to leave an old life, because you decided to leave a person, or because you decided to leave. And it's like, this was actually what you always wanted. And so now it's like you're allowing yourself to clean up the act and do what you got to do to ensure that this relationship, you know, reaches its peak, that you live out the rest of your lives with each other, is what I'm hearing for some of, for you. I'm going to go ahead and pull from the Avatar Oracle for a second. Wow, I can't even really get a good pull from, okay. I'm going to take that one. Okay. Soul Tribe. Wow. False God. Interesting. You're going to see footsteps. That's my fiance. Don't worry, he won't tell anyone about your reading. He shook his head. No, he's like, no, I'm not. It's so funny. Ooh. Okay. Soul travel. Exactly. Soul travel. Golden treasures. I feel like this is the best thing that is going to happen to you. I'm not joking. I really, really, really believe that. I feel like you are no longer putting people on pedestals. You're no longer allowing people to try to fool you, to make you believe that they are one way when they're not. And I feel like you're actively choosing to soul travel away because when you do, your soul tribe comes. That's it. That is it. That is all. And I feel like it's the best treasure that you could have ever received. This golden treasure here is coming up as you releasing, letting go, and allowing yourself to walk right through that light. To walk right through the light. It's so interesting that they're saying don't walk into the void yet, walk into the light. They're saying that because the white light is a representation of a new life. In some instances, it can be seen as an incarnation. And so for people that do, or for souls that don't want to incarnate, they say, oh, I'm not going to the light, I'm going to go to the darkness. And it's like, well, for you, you're like, no, I'm going to come back because I know that I'm going to experience something else. And you're actively choosing to move and to go. Because even when you thought and believed that you could not grow, that you could not make it, that you wouldn't sprout and grow and breathe and be, you're allowing yourself to move into this new space where you can grow, where you can root, where you can burn, where you can flow, where you can breathe, where you can be. And I feel like that's exactly what's happening. And you're no longer allowing people to come into your space or make you believe that you have to stay here out of obligation. And I feel like it's too many people making you believe or making you feel like you are obligated to be here. You're not obligated to be anywhere, right? Like you don't have to be anywhere that you don't want to be. I mean, yeah, sure, fair that there's things that happen, you know, like consequences or whatever for certain things. But to be honest with you, you will always be sovereign. And that's what Spirit wants you to remember. You will always be sovereign. Always. I want you to remember that. We're going to pull however many cards Spirit says to pull from this deck. There's one. Source, would you like for me to pull another? That's three. Do I do one more? Okay. Yep. Empowerment. Wow. Look at that. You could make this up if you tried. And I know you saw that. I know you saw that. So you have here empowerment. The frequency of empowerment supports our ability to show up fully and completely, uniting us with others in the deep trust that we are all connected through the same source. This is Soul Tribe. I just heard that help is on the way. Help is on the way for someone, for you. You are that someone. Help is on the way. Help looks like your community coming to give you things to help you out. What I'm seeing, I think this is the future. This is coming from the future, and this is for the future. There's going to be time, or there's going to be a time in humanity in our lives, right, where when we see someone on the street, we will willingly give to that person, to that soul, so that they won't be homeless. And that's how we're going to show up for each other, because we know that the government is not going to help. So we take it upon ourselves to help. And we're going to start seeing a lot more of that. This was something that I just kind of interjected in your reading. Excuse that. At times, I do receive revelations and I do receive prophecies. And they do sometimes come through for while I'm doing a reading. So thank you for being open and for understanding that. Okay, let's go ahead and continue. We have here synergy. The frequency of synergy supports our allowance and acceptance of not so obvious, never before seen combinations and unions that result in new ways of functioning, working, thinking, relating, loving, and being. It reminds us to embrace the unfamiliar so that new yet exciting co-creations can give birth to a new reality. I really feel like you're walking into another life. Allowance. You see what I'm saying? Didn't we just say the word allowance? Yep, allowance. And now you have allowance. Okay. So you have the frequency of allowance invites us to be open to whatever comes our way without judgment, without opinion, without fear, and without resistance. When we allow, the universe becomes our partner in the wondrous dance of existence and expansion. Exactly. That's why they don't want you putting your hands in everything, and they don't want you to have so much control, because you're about to get everything that you want, and you're going to claim that because it is yours. And then third eye chakra. The frequency of the third eye chakra, the indigo flower of life, supports our intuition and our inner knowing, our imagination, and our psychic powers. Watch just how much you start to grow, sprout, and evolve when you embrace this new life after leaving and after maneuvering and after choosing to go the other way. I believe truly, and I feel deeply that you are in a space where you're allowing and you're receiving. And I feel like I just keep hearing that it's like a new chapter. Like it just really does feel like you're moving into a new space. I feel like everything in your life, a new wardrobe, new shoes, new home, new car, new everything. And it's like, this is comfort. Now I feel like I'm safe enough to be in my purpose. And for some of you, or for, whoever else is listening to this, it's, because I'm in my purpose, everything else follows suit. Because not everything is a one size fits all, right? So in this instance, it's either you become comfortable and then your purpose ignites, or your purpose ignites and then you get to be comfortable and maneuver out into whatever else, okay? Yes, that's it. That's all. I'm hoping that this reading served you for the better. I hope that you received what you needed out of it. I know that this reading was a bit longer than normal for a reading. However, I just needed to say everything that I needed to. And plus, I just felt the energy. It was so calming and cozy. And I was really just loving the energy. So anyway, yes, if I were you right now, I would 100% be working with divine wisdom. I feel like the fact that allowance did come up, I would be working my magic use around money making. I wouldn't use fast. Well, for some of you, you may want to use fast cash. And that's also available in the Etherium. However, I would work with wealth and prosperity, divine wisdom. What else would I work with? And for some of you that don't have it right now, a white candle, some sugar, if you have it, if you have some bay leaves in your cabinet, you could use that, because that sugar is going to sweeten it up. That bay leaf is going to send it right to God. And that bay leaf is going to act like it's going to allow the energy of abundance to be there. And when you burn the bay leaf, I feel like that's when you send the intentions to God. And at that point, like, you know what I mean? Like at that point, or you may want to crush up I just said it, crush up the bay leaf, and then you may want to put it in the candle. Either way it goes, I do feel like you working with a bay leaf or bay leaves. Oh, I just heard for you to write a word for wealth, or write wealth on a bay leaf and then bury it in the ground. Bury it next to your favorite tree. Bury it in the earth. That's earth magic, because then that intention is going to grow. Okay. Thank you for listening. I hope that this helped. If you need anything from me, please feel free to visit me online over at the SaiyonanPath.org. If you wish to, you can also follow along with me on Instagram over at Nuna Sees. And yes, I really do want to grow our community. I do want to get this channel monetized. The Etherium is also not for commercial use. It is for spirituality only. And I have a private members ministry in the, behind the scenes and whatnot. So if you want to support that, you reserve that. And when you reserve the essentials, that's how you support the ministry. Okay. Well, that's it. I love you, and I'll catch you in my next video.